Hello, happy Monday. Welcome back to AskAmy. I have a question today from Monica. It's a little bit long, not too long, but I'm going to read it and then I'll say something about it. So Monica says, after many years of searching, I've come to see some things about my smoking addiction. I see that when I take a cigarette, it's not the cigarette that's calming me down, but the thought about it stops for that moment, and I'm free of the thought and the feeling that comes along with it. That right there is huge, Monica. So there's some discomfort, some natural discomfort, and a mind wanting to make sense of that discomfort that says, oh no, this is the feeling of wanting a cigarette. I want a cigarette. That's a thought that shows up along with some sensation. And when that thought shows up, it's believed and it's thought to be you thinking that, and it's about you and it's about a cigarette and all of that. But what happens then for the smoker is that they have the cigarette, and you're 100% right about what you say, Monica. It's not that this cigarette is some magical cure. It's all of that thinking that says, oh no, I don't like this feeling. I won't feel okay until I have a cigarette, which, by the way, may be conscious, it may not be conscious. We don't necessarily have to be aware of all of this. But when that thought comes in and it's felt as truth and it looks like I want the cigarette and I'll feel better when I have it, and then the smoker lights the cigarette, well, then their mind settles down. Their mind says, oh, okay, we got what we needed. But that is very, very different than it being the fact that a cigarette makes you feel better. Why you're feeling better, as you see, is that your mind settles down for a minute. The cigarette isn't doing it. It's the clear mind that feels better. So anyway, interrupting your question, but you're spot on so far, Monica, and that's awesome to see that. She says, and I can also see that I can have a thought, I'm going to have a cigarette, and then something else catches my attention and I forget about it until it arises again. Yes. So I see that it's not the cigarette and smoking that's the problem. It's my thoughts about it. Perfect. Because if the thought arose, I'm going to have a cigarette, and that's what was needed, there was some truth in that thought, or it was coming up because you actually need a cigarette, it wouldn't just go away, right? But the truth is, your experience is that thought can arise and then something can distract you and that thought's gone. And a cigarette, is wanted or not wanted. It's all very, very fluid. So that's awesome what you're saying, Monica. It's the world that thought is creating, the world that consciousness is creating in this very moment is what we live in. It's not really about the cigarette at all. Even when mind is talking about a cigarette, it might be saying, I want a cigarette. No, I don't. Yes, I do. No, I don't. That's not about a cigarette. That's about thought. We're feeling the back and forth of thought happening. Okay. So Monica's seeing a lot. So she says, and yet I feel like I want to smoke, ! But I have to stop smoking because I don't have the money to keep up this expensive habit. I've also noticed that as soon as I think about it, that I have to stop smoking, the more I want to smoke. Exactly. And when I don't focus on it, I smoke less. So again, I see that it's my thinking that's the problem. I guess it's just that identification with that my thinking, she says, and that I'm not willing enough to stop smoking, or what does it take? So then she says, what I've also reflected on is that if it was my body that wanted the cigarette, I should have to smoke even during the hours of the night. So it has to be my thinking and not what my body needs. Any thoughts about that? She asks. Yes, that makes perfect sense, right? Isn't it funny? If our body needs a cigarette, if your body needs a cigarette, then why is it exactly that you can sleep 8 hours through the night and your body's not waking up saying, I need a cigarette? But when you're awake for 8 hours during the day, it does talk about that. If it's truly a physical need, as you're saying, why is it that most smokers, this was me when I was a smoker, really want a cigarette at very predictable times? After a meal, maybe when you're driving, when you're bored, when you're with other people who are smoking. That's not physical. There's nothing about after a meal that's a physical need for a cigarette or being around other people or other smokers. No, that's 100% thought. So you're spot on about that. She says, years ago when I was in a relationship in an early state, I felt that I could choose to continue the relationship or end it depending on which thoughts I gave my attention to. So there was an awareness of that my experience was determined by my thinking. Maybe the core belief here is that I'm totally identified with thought, and as I said, my thinking. I guess I just haven't seen anything clearly or deeply enough. Please help me see. Okay, so Monica, you're seeing a ton, and you're seeing really, it's really awesome what you're seeing about this, and what you see is the most important part. I mean, this is like the 99% of it. You get that you, Monica, don't want, need, or care about cigarettes, really. Your body doesn't want, need, or care about cigarettes. Now, your body might have some physical addiction, which means when the drug has left your system, some stuff might happen just habitually, which is kind of your body saying, hey, the drug is left, let's add some more drug. But that's just habit. That's just what happens to a body, right? That has nothing to do with you wanting to smoke. And that's what you see. What you're seeing, Monica, is this is all thinking. It's habitual thinking saying, I want this cigarette, but wait a minute, maybe I don't, and all of that. So you're seeing the really, really important part. Here's what I think can be helpful. So, because this is where your question changes. You're telling me all this great stuff that you're seeing, and then there's always a but, right? Or there wouldn't be a question. So your but here is, and yet, after you say all these insights you've had, I know it's thought, and yet I feel like I want to smoke. If we stop it right there, so I see this, I see that, I get it, it's my thinking, and yet I feel like I want to smoke. Okay, let's just stay right there. That's perfect. So feel like you want to smoke. That still doesn't mean that you want to smoke. That doesn't mean anything about you. That doesn't mean that you haven't had a ton of insights about this. It doesn't mean that you're destined to be a smoker, because despite all these insights, you still feel like you want to smoke. All of those may be kind of hidden thoughts that your mind is thinking. They might be kind of stories in there like, oh, if I have all these insights, I should not want to smoke anymore. Well, no, that's not a given at all. So it's okay and perfect and totally fine and meaningless and normal to see a lot about this and then still have a feeling that you want to smoke, because that's just a habitual thought too. That's no different than any other thought you're having. So when you feel like you want to smoke, I want you to just feel that feeling. What's so special about it? So what? So it's no different to sit here and be like, wow, I feel like I want to smoke, than it is to sit here and think, wow, it's a really beautiful day outside. There's no clouds in the sky. This is really nice. There's no difference in those two things. Now, one of them that I feel like I want to smoke might come with, I don't know, some kind of physical, what we might call physical withdrawal, which is just your body saying, hey, time for more nicotine. It might come with some of those sensations. It might come with some different thoughts. Again, like I mentioned, it might come with some fear. It might come with some story. But just the experience of feeling like I want to smoke, there's nothing special about it. There's nothing dangerous about it. I want you to just feel that. I want you to practice being in that feeling. Now, it's fine if you smoke after. Smoke or don't smoke after. It doesn't really matter. It's not about that at all. You're not feeling this because that's supposed to lead you to not want to smoke at the end. No, I just want you to feel it. I want you to see, because this is what your mind says is the stopper. This is your but. But I feel like I want to smoke. So what? Who gives a crap? So feel like you want to smoke. Feel that feeling. That's going to come. You're going to feel it. You're going to see that you can sit there and feel that. And then it's going to change. And more than that, when you do this, you're going to see some other stuff that I don't know what is, I can't predict what that is. But for any of us, sitting in a feeling, just sitting in what's arising, just looking at it, feeling into it, being curious about it, it's like the personalized gift that we need. It will show you what there is for you to see. And don't add too much expectation or thinking to that either. It doesn't mean you're going to sit there in that feeling of wanting to smoke and suddenly have some massive insight that takes it all away. No, you might just see, wow, this really sucks. But look, I sat in it for 20 seconds. I sat in it for 5 seconds and then I reached for a cigarette. Like, you're just watching the whole thing kind of just as the whole thing, because you are. This isn't a feeling and a set of thoughts that's happening to Monica. This is all just life. It's all life just showing up exactly as it is, and you are it too. There's no big thing happening to you that then you have to fight or change or repress or push away. It's like, oh, what's arising right now is peace. Oh, what's arising right now is feeling like I want to smoke. Okay? What's arising right now is, oh, it's a beautiful day. What's arising right now is I feel horrible. I don't think I can stop smoking. Okay? Well, that's a doubtful thought. Some feeling comes with that. What's arising right now is whatever. So it's all the same stuff showing up in slightly different costumes, and it's for you to just be in it all with wonder and curiosity and just to hang out and see what there is there. When you said the more you think, when you get in this story about it's so expensive and it's bad for me and I need to quit, you want to smoke more. Exactly. So don't do that. That's exactly how it will go. There's nothing that pressure is going to do for you here that's positive. So it doesn't matter if you smoke after you play with this, but go into that feeling, because that's the big but. And I would love to see what opens up for you after that. There's nothing personal about that feeling. There's nothing true. It's not life or God telling you you're destined to smoke. There's absolutely no meaning to it. So there's some sensations, there's some thoughts. You can do that, and then you will be pulled through by that teeny tiny little step, which is really a huge step. So thank you for sending this, Monica. I love all the insights you're having. Now it's time to just live it, feel it, live it, lean into it. You know so much intellectually, great. Now that has opened you to be able to really actually sit in this feeling of wanting to smoke and just check it out. Thanks for sending your question. Send your questions to AskAmy at thelittleschoolofbigchange.com, and I'm here every Monday answering them. Thanks. Bye, everyone.